It's Friday night, everybody. You know what that means. It's Friday night. Let's have some fun. Let's get together and play a ton.
Hi, I'm Matt.
And I'm John.
And we're
Friday Night Games.
And we want to immerse you into our love of the hobby by educating and entertaining you through our board gaming adventures. Our podcast lands every Friday, and we create content for Instagram, Twitter, YouTube.
But wait, there's more. And this episode is sponsored by TabletopRenaissance.ca, located in our hometown of Windsor, Ontario, Canada. They have launched their web store officially, so check out TabletopRenaissance.ca for your board game and tabletop miniature needs.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Episode 5 of Friday Night Games, Last Game Standing.
Standing.
Starting with 5 games chosen by 5 amazing content creators, a game will be voted off each week until there's only 1 game left.
All right, and on the last show, we had guest Bridge City Board Gamers, and we ended up voting off Aeon's End Outcast.
Wow, I didn't think it was going to make it that far, but it did. So I'm glad I made it through all that rounds of voting, though.
You know what? I purchased it while we were talking.
Well, it's a good game.
Them, right?
It's a good game.
Afterwards, we had a great conversation about getting a cabin and just playing a long game with our close friends.
Yes, I think you were going to leave me in the cabin, though, but that was a different side topic.
Yeah, probably. So if you haven't been caught up yet, make sure you check back the last 4 episodes. They're good. Real good. And this last episode of the series.
Yeah, so today we're going to choose the champion, which is pretty sweet. We hope everyone enjoyed our last episodes. It's been really fun, and it was really fun getting all the content creators to do this for us. I'm really sorry that I gave them like 8 hours worth of work, but I'm sure it turned out okay.
Yeah, and next week we're going to do kind of like a recap episode, which is ironically going to be our 100th episode.
Yeah,
somehow that worked out really well.
Yeah, that's also 2 years of podcasting.
That's strange.
That's like our birthday, 100. It's weird. Yeah, I don't know how that even happened.
We're going to have 2 guests on that are followers of us on Instagram, and one that was following us on when we were doing Twitch for a while. So we're going to kind of get their thoughts on this contest we held and get some insight from them if they would have chosen different games or whatever. But it'll be a good conversation. Should be fun.
And today's show is going to be super fun too, because we are joined by Megan and Tristan of Girl Meets Nerd. Welcome. Woo!
Hello.
Thank you for coming on.
So nice to be here.
Oh, we're so excited to have you back. You've been on the show before.
Yes.
And we love the 2 of you on that episode, which we'll talk about in a bit. Yeah. So today they are going to help us vote off or choose the best hipster game of 2020.
Woo!
What an honor.
And those games are Merv, elected by Bridge City Board Gamers, and Rallyman GT, elected by Room 51.
And Castles of Tuscany, elected by Friday Night. Oh, that got voted off right away, didn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, all right. Don't try and put your game back in there.
Okay. Megan and Tristan, can you plug yourselves? Tell everyone where they can find you.
Absolutely. So we are Megan and Tristan, as was mentioned, from the Girl Meets Nerd podcast. We are on Instagram. We are on Twitter at Girl Meets Nerd. And we are also maybe starting, and this is a little spoiler, to get more active on Twitch at the Girl Meets Nerd podcast as well.
Nice.
I know. We also have a website, www.girlmeetsnerd.com. You can find merch, episodes, fun facts about us. Are we anywhere else, Tristan?
Probably.
The dark web.
Yeah, but if you...
Or on the dark web.
On the dark web, if you just look us up. No, we're on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Google Podcasts, pretty much anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Nice.
Awesome.
So thanks again for being on our show. Megan and Tristan were on our show last September, October, I think, where we discussed Root by Letter Games. So it's kind of funny that you chose another Letter Games game for our contest. That's
Are they
cool.
paying you money?
I mean, I wish. But if anyone knows us, we're just pretty obsessed with Leader Games. So it's no surprise here.
They could be if they're listening.
Yes. Hello, Leader Games. We're still waiting.
For the bags of money, right?
They come in bags. They really do. That's what I hear.
Yeah.
So what kind of nerdy things have you guys been up to over the last year?
Oof, a lot of things. I would say my main one for sure, the biggest development in 2020, 2021 is anime for me.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Huge.
I started watching it and it just couldn't stop.
Off the
So,
deep end.
Yeah, absolutely off the
Completely.
deep end. I now have I have a whole anime wall now.
Yep.
What have you dived into so far?
I started with Hunter x Hunter.
Oh, Hunter x Hunter.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I
You
love
Dip
that.
your toes in the Miyazaki movies.
Well, I did start with the Studio
Yeah.
Ghibli movies,
Okay.
but those were kind of I already knew I would like them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I started watching Hunter x Hunter, and then it turned into Full Metal Alchemist, and then it
Nice.
was My Hero Academia and Inuyasha and
Wow.
Haikyuu, and what else have I been watching?
Seven Deadly Sins.
Seven Deadly Sins. Like, there's a lot. It's a little intense.
Wow, that's awesome. So when you started the Studio Ghibli movies, I actually had
Mhm.
so me and my wife used to watch that a long time ago. So when you did that, you actually inspired me to get my wife to watch those with me, and we watched a bunch
Oh,
around the same time
yay.
you were doing that. And
I know I was taking polls on Twitter of which ones I should watch because I'd really only watched Spirited Away and I was intrigued, but I was like, what do I watch? What do I start with? So
what's your favorite of them?
definitely, I would have to say it's very hard to choose because they're all so different.
Oh,
but,
come on.
but if I'm choosing,
You
I'm
have a
going to go with a very basic answer, and that would be Howl's Moving Castle. Like, I
That's a good
just love that movie. It's so funny. It's so well animated. It's just such a great story.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You should watch them. They're very good. We actually watched
Really?
Spirited Away with our little nieces.
I've seen Spirited Away, and I think that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
My favorite's actually Princess Mononoke. Do not watch that with your nieces because it has graphic
Yeah.
violence.
My kids or my nieces?
Or my nieces.
Oh.
Do not watch that with my nieces.
I won't.
Or your kid.
Awesome.
Tristan's favorite is Kiki's
I
Delivery
love
Service.
Kiki's Delivery
I love
Service.
that one
Yeah.
too. I kind of wish. I think it was supposed to like spin into like a series or something because it ended on
Oh.
like kind of like a small cliffhanger where I'm like,
Yeah.
well, what's gonna happen next? I want to keep watching. You know.
I know, and she's so great.
She's so
Yeah.
cute. It's just such a simple story. I don't know.
It's
I
so
love
awesome.
Howl's Moving Castle and a lot of the more complex ones, but Kiki's Delivery Service is just so cute.
Yeah, it was very well animated too. I love that. I love that.
And
show.
Kiki reminds me of Megan a lot.
There's another one we watched where it's like the bamboo. It's like a girl who gets. I can't remember the name of it. I guess it has like a different name, but it was like the girl who was sprouted from bamboo. And there's like this like song in it that they keep. I don't know. Someone's gotta look it up. But it is.
Oh, I think I've seen that actually.
It's a really good movie too.
Oh,
From Bamboo?
Yeah, hold on. Let me see here. Bamboo Girl.
Bamboo Girl.
Bamboo Girl movie.
Ghibli.
If you're gonna get some weird results with that one, Matt.
Oh, The Tale of Princess Kaguya or Kaguya.
Oh, yes, I've been wanting to watch that one. That's one of the newer ones.
Yes, that's
Oh, is
really
it?
good. That's really good. I think it's like based on like a
Alright, let's
fairy
watch it.
tale. So
That's cool. Yeah, I think you're right about that.
yeah, so it was really good, and it has like this catchy song that like after watching it, I just couldn't stop singing it. I
That's
well,
awesome.
it's been a while ago. I would sing it if I remember, but it was just so addicting.
Cool.
What about you, Tristan? Did you ever dive deep into Twilight Imperium? I think you were learning that last time.
I was just thinking about that. I have not played it since. I have not played it since.
One game is enough.
One game. I was just thinking about it earlier today. I would say I've spent a lot more time playing video games, at least recently. I always say I love the idea of playing video games because I used to love playing them, but kind of fell out of it, especially like single player games. But we started playing Horizon Zero Dawn
Oh, yes.
together. And it's kind of like I have been playing and Megan has been backseat watching and invested in the story and helping to hunt. the
I've been
machines.
helping a lot. I would get
Strategizing.
killed a lot if I wasn't there. I'm like the lookout. I'm telling you where the animals and monsters are. Just because I can't do the controls doesn't mean I'm not playing.
Fair.
Fair, yeah.
Yeah, so I built a gaming PC, started in January and kind of was doing that for a little while and then started playing some more video games. And I recently picked up Ghost of Tsushima, which has absolutely taken me away.
Nice.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I follow another content creator called Sprites and Dice, and he plays a lot of Ghost of. Sorry, I don't even know how to pronounce that. Ghost of Tsushima.
I think it's Tsushima.
Yeah, I've
I
heard it's really
was
good.
saying Tsushima. It is mind-blowing.
It looks beautiful too.
Yeah, just transports you right into the era. Was walking around pretending like I had a katana.
It was very disturbing.
That was wonderful.
You're walking around the house pretending like I have a katana, like yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Literally.
That's immersion right there.
There you go.
Challenging Megan to a duel.
Yeah. I did not want to duel.
So back to your podcast, just really quickly. I just want our listeners, like, I really love your show, and I want them to really love your show. What would be an episode that they should listen to? Like, it's a must listen.
I mean, I want to say all of them, but to avoid a lame answer, I'm going to hand it off to Tristan.
Okay, I will steal the first one.
Yes.
Go for it.
So the first episode that I would recommend, just based on honestly my preference, is episode 26 with Paymedaway Games. We spoke with the owners and co-founders of Paymedaway Games, which is a board game store based in Edmonton in Alberta.
Oh.
And we talked about diversity and inclusivity in gaming and board gaming. And it was just an amazing conversation talking about their experience opening a board game store and what it means to be actively inclusive as part of their store and how they operate their shop, and talking about Indigenous people in gaming and representation in gaming, and just all kinds of really amazing conversations.
Yeah, definitely
Highly
a must listen.
Okay, put it on my list.
Yeah, for sure. The episode that I would recommend is a little bit different because Tristan stole my answer. But I would recommend episode 28. We had a good friend of Tristan on the podcast to talk a little bit about what competitive video gaming looks like. And it was a super interesting conversation because I never really realized how intense competitive video gaming is, and that you like go and you watch it like sports. So it was really eye-opening. And we also played a super fun game that Tristan developed
Oh, nice.
where our guest and I competed to see who knew more terminology. So I had to guess what different gaming terms meant, and he had to guess what different cooking terms meant.
That sounds awesome. Who won?
Yeah.
It was
Or
so
no,
fun.
no, we'll keep it to the episode. We'll keep it to the episode.
Yeah, you gotta watch the episode to find out. Watch, listen.
So your friend
Listen.
was a professional gamer. Was he a professional gamer in something, or he just loves watching professional gaming?
Both. So he loves watching professional gaming. I don't know.
You want to
I don't
plug
know
him?
what it takes to classify. I would definitely plug him. His name is Jordan Wilbur. He had awesome things to say on the podcast, and he plays Super Smash Bros. Melee.
Oh, he's a melee person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Melee
wow,
guy.
that's like an underground cult of like competitive
I
gaming right
know.
there.
Right? I had to know more about this cult.
Yeah. It's. I got into the cult a little bit. I watched the
Oh.
documentary that kind of hooked him into it.
Okay.
He's played a lot in the local scene in Halifax when he was living there, and traveled to Toronto a couple of times to compete in the, I don't know this for sure, but I think it's the largest Canadian tournament, and had a lot of fun playing in the tournament and then kind of watching the top 8 all compete. This is a very small, like, elite group that always wind up at the top, and it was just awesome listening to him talk about it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I gotta listen to that one because I love melee. That's what I did for like 5 years of my life. I wasn't very
Oh my
good.
gosh, you've gotta listen to that one.
I wasn't very good. There's like, in that there's something called wave dashing. I was not good at that. So, but you like
It's
that's,
hard.
Yeah, that's like the elite maneuver or something to dodge.
Matt, that is literally one of the terms I had to figure out on the podcast.
You should have phoned a friend. Although you
I
probably,
should
although you
have.
wouldn't have known that I would have known that, but
I didn't know, but now if I ever have to do it again, I will call you.
there you go. That's funny. Okay, well, we're here to. This has been a great conversation, which will continue at the end of this episode. But right now, we're here to vote for the best game the best hipster game of 2020. And on that note, what did you think of my hipster list? What was your point of view on it, Megan and Tristan?
I loved it because I learned about a lot of new games that I wouldn't necessarily have been drawn towards. That was probably what I liked the most about it. I typically am kind of drawn towards the themes that I like in a board game, like the fantasy or the sci-fi or something that I can connect to. And a lot of them, most of them, I would say, were games that I wouldn't normally look at and be like, that looks like it would be something I would enjoy. But listening to it kind of opened my mind, especially with, I think it was Merv and Eurogames and Castles of Tuscany, where they don't look as attractive. And you kind of have to either hear about them or play them to really, want to end up playing. At least that's how I kind of approach board gaming.
That's really cool note because like Merv and Castles of Tuscany are almost the opposite end of Eurogaming, right? Where like Castles of Tuscany is an easy game. We called it streamlined, meaning you could pick it up really easy and play it. The theme doesn't matter. And then Merv is like the complex version of Tuscany, which is really cool. It's not easy to pick up. The theme does not matter, but there's a ton of mechanics in it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of neat
Yeah.
that you had that perspective from this episode. We didn't even mean to do that. I just had people choose stuff, and I was hoping people would choose things. Merv wasn't on my original hipster list, but I let it on.
There you go.
What about you, Megan? What'd you think?
Well, honestly, it made me realize how little I know about board games. To be honest. I thought,
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make
you
it
know,
that
I
way.
thought I was starting to get a handle on the whole board game scene. You know, I was like, I know the top 10 board games. I know how to play the. And then I saw your list, and I was like, oh no.
You're like, what the heck is this?
I'm not a hipster.
But to the same note as Tristan, I really enjoyed learning about the different games. And I think that especially because our podcast is dedicated to beginners who maybe wouldn't pick up a hipster game at a board game store,
Yeah.
it was really cool to hear those different perspectives and think about why do I think that I like certain games when, like, for example, Rallyman GT, I would never, ever, ever pick that up at a board game
Right.
store because I don't really like racing. I wouldn't pick it up. It just wouldn't call to me. But hearing it on your list, I'm like, that sounds really cool. So
Yeah, I don't want to spoil a winner possibly because it's up for winning, but it's a very good game and you should pick it up because it's actually really easy. I'd actually recommend it to beginners.
Yeah.
It's very easy to understand.
that's awesome.
I'm actually glad you said that game because I think that game is very accessible to a lot of people.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah, I'm sorry I scared you guys with that list.
I had nightmares
No.
for days.
Not scared, just maybe opened our eyes.
Okay, okay. I'm sorry I opened. No. Okay, I'm glad I opened your eyes. I
Yeah.
want
I like the list because it got us to play those games.
Mhm.
I know
Yeah.
we were in lockdown, so Matt and I didn't see each other for a few weeks, well, probably like 3 months. So we played a lot of these games via tabletop simulator and stuff like that. So as difficult as that always is, especially with games like Merv,
Mhm.
it was still fun to be able to like play them and understand why everyone chose the games they did and why. So
Right, yeah, and then why everyone was upset they couldn't choose Dune Imperium and Lost Ruins of Arnak. They keep telling me every episode.
there you go.
I have to say, I got a bit tired of seeing every content creator ever post about those things. So I was happy to see games that I didn't know about.
Thank you. That's what I was trying to go for. I was trying to go for a little bit out of the mainstream
Right.
because we're not mainstream ourselves.
And we're like super cool hipster, right?
Yeah, totally hipster. But on that note, so you two are a little bit different than the others. The others will play like every game that's ever created. I feel like because the two of you do kind of like beginner things, you kind of immerse yourself in everything. I want to know what your top game of 2020 was, but not necessarily released in 2020, the top game that both of you played.
We both played in 2020.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be released in 2020.
When did 2020 start?
So long ago.
It really did.
Long time ago.
Now, how hipster does this have to be?
Oh,
Yeah.
whatever you want.
Whatever you want,
If
yeah.
you want to say Monopoly, I'm cool with that. Nothing wrong with Monopoly.
Do you have one? I have one, but I feel like we're going to say the
Okay,
same
you
thing
go
again.
ahead. You go ahead.
I think the most... okay, I just got to get my head around 2020.
We can't say root.
Okay, no. I think the most played game of 2020 for me was Dungeon Mayhem by Wizards of the Coast and all of the expansions that went along with it. We had a lot of cottage time and like small groups in different little groups. Like we were visiting other little groups, not just the same people. So
Outside a lot of
outside a lot of the time, so we couldn't have a lot of pieces. We wanted a game that was going to be easily accessible to just explain like this is what we're doing, that it was going to be really fun, and that we could play it a lot over and over again, and it wasn't like a long board game.
Sorry, I've actually never heard of Dungeon Mayhem. Can you explain that?
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, are
I
we
know,
too
yeah,
hipster
I'm
for
actually-
this podcast?
I'm
I
so
know,
sorry.
I know, it's fine. Go ahead, go crazy.
We're actually like really good board game reviewers. So
You
so
are.
it's designed by Wizards of the Coast, so it's fully like Dungeons and Dragons themed, and
Kind of.
well, it's based in that,
Yeah.
like I guess copyright, like they use D&D copyright.
Right. They own the current D&D copyright of like
Yeah.
5th edition or something.
So it's like a dueling game. Everybody has a deck. You draw a couple of cards. Everybody has 10 hit points. and then you can play like an attack, a shield card to protect yourself, a go again card, and then every character has special ability cards that are totally overpowered. So everybody has overpowered cards, and you just are playing cards to try and
Kill each other.
kill everyone else on the board.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, do you really like this game for the game, or do you like it because it's the same artist as Root and Flip?
Is it
it
actually?
really?
Yeah, it is.
Are you serious?
I'm dying.
Is it really, John?
Yeah, Kyle Farron did the art.
I
for,
think we have
Dungeon
to rethink
Mayhem.
our entire lives.
Oh my god.
Do we need to
Oh my-
reach out to him?
I think
Does
so.
he need to paint our house? Like,
Are you? I still don't fully believe you.
no way.
I have to look this up now. I was dying over there.
I think it's in the other room. No way.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Only you would
Okay,
notice that too.
No. That the answer to that question is no. I didn't even know that. I was introduced to it by a friend who picked it up for the same reason, that it was just quick and easy. It does have really great art. That's wild. I swear.
I think you should have him on your show
Yeah,
soon.
you can
We
do
really
it.
should.
At this point,
Okay.
honestly.
We only like board games that you're involved in creating.
That's awesome.
No, I like it because it's quick, it's fun. They started with like player classes, so like wizard and I think there's cleric, and then the expansion is all monsters.
Yeah, it's super cool.
So there's like owl bears and all kinds of crazy stuff, and everybody's
My God, it is Kyle Farron.
thrilled.
Yes.
Everybody's powers are just wild, and
Yeah.
there's a couple in the new expansion. They involve like the player stuff, so you get extra hit points if everyone stands up and dances.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of encourages. There's like switch your hand with other people, trade
It's
cards,
like a nightmare.
get like half your health points down if you don't compliment the other person. It's a lot of fun.
I just purchased it, so thanks for that.
Oh, did you? I'm about to purchase it too.
No, I purchased it. I got it.
I'll get the expansion.
Okay,
There
sounds
we
good.
That's amazing. Yeah, I would say the Monster Madness expansion is definitely super fun because it does add those like party game aspects to it where it's like, okay, if you don't get up and dance the Owl Bear Boogie, you lose 2 points. And so like our parents have had to get up and dance because they don't want to lose the points.
That's-
They have it at Brimstone. Do you want me to just order it there? And then
Yeah.
you can get it tomorrow.
yeah, boom. See how we roll.
There. I'll order both.
That's
then.
amazing.
Done live.
Yeah. Now, Megan, is your game the same game?
I wouldn't say necessarily like I love Dungeon Mayhem and we played it a lot.
Is it a Kyle Farron
I would
game?
say
No.
I'm like trying to rack my brain. Like I don't think this
Make
is
sure
gonna
it's
be- I think, and this is going to be super not hipster, so please don't kick me off the episode.
No, never.
But mine of 2020 was actually, ironically, Pandemic.
Oh, nice.
It was a game you actually suggested to me, Matt, because I was saying, you know, my family, we really like to play board games, but my mom hates them. She doesn't like the competitive aspect. And I really want to be able to bring something home that we can all play over Christmas because, you know, like I don't have anyone else to play board games with at this point.
Yeah.
So I brought it home and she ended up loving it because the
Awesome.
cooperative aspect really made it less about her individual moves and we were able to work together and it was just so fun and it was a game that just kept coming out because we could all play it together and people we'd normally play board games with we couldn't see. So having a game that appealed to multiple kinds of game
Gamers.
players was really awesome. So that was my favorite of 2020 because of the memories.
That makes me so happy too, because that is a great game, and I'm glad you played it with your parents. I feel like it's an easy game to learn because it's similar to Risk, like it isn't, but like the board itself has like that mechanic to it. So you're like, oh, okay, I kind of get it. I'm glad your parents loved it too. It's good, always great to
they
hear
did.
that, because I would consider the two of you, even though the two of you say you're newer into games, you're more beginners, but I actually disagree. I think like your parents would be the true beginners, and to see them like
Yes,
a game
definitely.
like Pandemic, that's amazing.
Yeah. My dad, you know, he grew up playing Risk and loved it, but there's no way we're getting that to the table.
There's quicker versions of it nowadays, so maybe he'll enjoy that.
It's true.
Okay, that was awesome. That was a really good conversation. I don't even know if we need to do the rest of the podcast. We
Yeah,
need to
we're
even
done.
vote
We're done.
another game off? I don't think so.
I feel like Fort just won just because. Kyle Theron? Anyone?
Kyle
All right,
Farron
all right.
slipping back in.
It's that time. It's time to
Choose a winner.
listen.
Get serious.
It's time. Yeah, time to get serious. We got to listen to everyone's answers to the theme
Right,
of
yeah.
this week. So we are left with Merv and Rallyman GT to
Right.
take the title. And the question that we are going to discuss today is why you should buy this game over the other one.
And I did make a note. Feel free to trash talk or be as creative as you want.
Yes.
And we're actually going to play everyone's answers because I feel like it makes sense to play everyone because everyone kind of trashes every game.
Sweet.
So yeah, let's give that a listen. And
There is a warning. Apparently, we all decided to swear, which we normally don't. So that's all good. Just a fair warning.
yeah.
There we go. Let's hear it.
All right, John. I don't even know if we made it to the final round. I doubt we did. What do you think?
Why would you say that? Why would you say that?
Well,
Tuscany is a great game.
yeah, that's true. They might be blown away by our theme question. So, maybe that elected it all the way at the end. So this one's really fun, and I'm looking really forward to talking about this one. So why should you buy this game over the other ones?
Well, we don't know what is left due to this being recorded before we eliminate any other games. So let's just trash talk all the other games.
Oh, right, yeah.
Why don't you start?
Oh, man, I was born to do this. All right, I'm going to go first. We're just going to do it like you just choose a game, whatever's left you got to talk about, right? So I'm going to go with Merv first, all right? Come on. That game is so complicated that the rules have rules have rules. It is like a rule book inception. The rules come with their own rule book. You literally read the rules, and then you got to read a whole other section of rules in the rule book. Okay, Tuscany fixes that problem. They rewrote the rules of Burgundy. They understood that they screwed up with Burgundy, and they rewrote it with Tuscany. Oh, and don't go check that Board Game Geek comment, the rules suck in Tuscany. Don't go check that.
All right, so what about Fort? So we're looking at deck building. So that is the most overused mechanic in 2020 was deck building games. Who the heck puts pizza in their backpack?
Yeah.
Like, that just doesn't make sense. Every hand couldn't buy anything. So, like, what was the point of some of those blank cards? It was just useless. Or even put pizza on the table because you couldn't even hang out with people. Like, we can't do anything in 2020. This game just did not sit well with me. It made me angry because I couldn't go play Red Rover in grade school.
Oh, yeah. Then
And
you
it made me feel a bunch of emotions
Then
I
you
didn't want to feel.
released that TikTok video about why you hated our principal.
Yeah, and Tuscany, it doesn't even have a theme. It's so good. So just Tuscany's the
It
best.
doesn't even need a theme. You don't need themes. Okay, I'm going to go with Rallyman GT now. Like, come on, man. The game already came out. Came out in 2008. They just slapped some color on it, and they're like, brand new game, bros. Bros, come get it. Tuscany was recreated from its also 2008 counterpart, but you know what? Whatever, man. It was recreated to kick the ass of the previous game to the curb, okay? And that's why it was created. Because Burgundy, boring. Tuscany, everyone could play. Thank you. Also, Rallyman GT, are you serious? You have a racing game, you don't have Mario Kart style, like, items? Lame. You can't vote for this. You're off. Get off the island, bro.
All right, and then what's left is Aeon's End. Let me guess, another deck builder. Come on. Outcast is also the 5th entry of the series, and you have to play like 10 hours just to unlock everything. Like, no one's got time for that these days. And it's co-op. Ugh. Everyone who plays this is trying to tell the other players what to do. That's just, I'm not going to listen to you. I'm going to play my own game, you know? I'd rather just go against you. But I think it's pretty obvious that Tuscany is the game of 2020. You can play it with everyone. It isn't a rules elite. It isn't super strategic. And it's better than Burgundy.
Yeah, and it's open for Mario Kart mechanics.
There you go.
Cool.
I mean, you can throw a banana at somebody if you want.
Yeah, I hope so. All right, so don't vote Tuscany off. Vote it the best game. Whoever's listening to this. Peace out.
See ya.
I'm Jason.
I'm Julie, and together we're Dice and Dragons.
So, Julie, why should everyone buy Aeon's End Outcast over all of the other games? Merv, 4, Castles of Tuscany, Rallyman. I mean, I think it's quite obvious why they should pick this one.
Besides because we said so?
Well, that's definitely the best reason. I would say because you said so. She's always right. And as every husband knows, happy wife, happy life. So just remember that. Remember that. But it's the only cooperative game on the list. I mean, come on. Like, what do you want to do? A game that, like, beat up on each other, have people going home and, like, not happy with each other? This game is really freaking hard, man. Like, there's Nemesis with, like, 90 to 100 life. It's really not easy to defeat them. So you get to work together, and you struggle, and you strive. And if you're lucky, you win!
I think he just got, like, infused by Valley Girl.
I was feeling a little clueless there because competitive games sometimes I'm just like, yo, what now? No.
But
I do like some competitive games, but yeah.
I totally...
This one's better.
I totally agree with you, Jason. I mean, I think one of the reasons we love co-ops so much, and this one in particular, and you touched upon it a little bit, this is a hard game. It takes the two of us to get this done. And in our case, I think we found that it takes 4 mages, right? It takes 4 characters.
No, it's harder at 4 than it is at 2 because of some of the scaling, but it's a lot more fun because you have a lot more access to abilities at 4, but you don't get to build your deck as fast.
No, but I mean, I agree with you. For me, I will always pick a cooperative game when I have the choice over a competitive game.
That's not true. There's a few, I'd say there's like maybe 4 games. Yeah, 4 games that you would pick over a cooperative game. However, I don't think any of them you'd pick over Aeon's End, so it's a moot point.
Okay, well, in the list that we have that you presented me with at the beginning, I definitely think that this is hands down, bar none, the best of the list of the games here.
So I've looked at all the games on the list. Some of them looked interesting, but they never got me to buy them. And we bought all of Aeon's End. This is like our 5th box. We've got a 6th box of tons of stuff coming. It all barely fits. I mean, there's just so much goodness that you get with Aeon's End. I mean, you've got like a little kid's game. You're building forts. That's cool, but who wants to build forts when you can be casting a spell and lighting a monster on fire and burning a nemesis to the ground? Like, that's just so much more fun. Also, having an ally that is like half like Nemesis, but also human and just like super powerful is even more fun.
Yeah. Well, and I think, we talked about all the different aspects, the theme, the mechanic, the way this game plays. It's just awesome. Honestly, like, why would we buy all these different iterations if it wasn't awesome? But, I think there aren't a lot of weaknesses to this game. It's a pretty strong game.
And I think, well, I know you agree with me, we absolutely enjoy working hard together at game night. There is definitely a time and a place for a competitive game, and we really enjoy certain competitive games, but typically we top out around that half hour to an hour mark. For playing a competitive game, we want to get it to the table multiple times because that's how you figure it out and get better at the game. But a game of Aeon's End can take a while, 60 to 90 minutes. It can go even longer with some of these bosses that are incredibly difficult. And you're just working together the entire time, which is so much fun. I mean, the first boss in this game is probably the hardest one overall because you don't have any backup and it will kick your ass. Sorry, I was going to say but that's a much more appropriate word. We're Aeon's End, I won't say experts, but we're really good at this game. We played a lot of this game. It was not easy.
No, it definitely wasn't. And
took us a few tries.
So, for us, I think if you're listening to this podcast, you probably are into gaming and you've probably played your fair share of games. If you're looking for something that's going to challenge you and be fun, this is definitely a game for you.
And unlike a lot of cooperative games, you can't have someone that is going to quarterback the whole game because you're building your own deck. And unless someone's cataloging everyone's cards, you're not going to know what's going to come up. You're definitely going to have some nice collaborative moments when you're talking about what spells, what needs to be cleared on the board and work together when you're making your final decisions. But no one's going to be making the decisions for you, like what cards you get, what sequence you're going to put them back in, because you know your mage, you're building your mage, and you're playing your mage. And that's just one of the things that I absolutely love about this game. And this takes everything that they've been working on throughout the Aeon's End series and puts it into one box. And then, well, you get to experience everything. So this may not be the best game for the newbies to deck building, but if you're looking for a challenging deck builder that probably has more strategy than other deck builders on the market, especially any other cooperative deck builder, then this is the one.
Yep, agreed.
All right, so there you have it. That's why you need to buy Aeon's End Outcasts. We are Dice and Dragons, and we are getting out of here.
Hey there, I'm Megan.
And I'm Tristan.
And we're the co-hosts of the Girl Meets Nerd podcast, and we believe that Fort from Leader Games is the best board game of 2020 and should absolutely win the last board game standing over every other game. So why do we think this? First of all the other games suck. There is nothing as good as ours.
Number 2.
We're great at arguing.
Number 3.
Pizza.
That's a wrap.
Seriously, though, some of the reasons that we think this game is better than all the others are, again, the theme is super fun, it's super cute, and it's incredibly well integrated into the game.
Fort is a 2 to 4 player game and plays just as well with 2 players as it does with 4 players. The games are also pretty quick in Fort, ranging between 20 to 40 minutes, but they're also very intense. It isn't one of those games where one player just starts to get way better at the game and can destroy all of the other players. All the matches that we have had have been pretty close and have really come down to it in the final minutes of the game, which just makes for an overall enjoyable experience.
Absolutely. With these kind of games, 20 to 40 minutes, it's often easy to assume they would be a good palate cleanser game. But I disagree. This game gets very intense and complex and can definitely be the main game at any game night.
We also love that the game keeps you engaged throughout the entire game. Even when it's not your turn, there are mechanics that keep you engaged. You have to continue thinking. When it's not your turn, other players, you can use their actions. So as you're thinking about, okay, I have all these cards in my hand, what card am I going to play? Do I have enough resources to do that? Those types of things. You also have to keep an eye on, what is he going to do? Am I going to spend my resources to copy the other player's action, or am I going to keep them for what I was originally going to do?
Absolutely. Also, this game is extremely great if you want to relive the childhood trauma of trying to find something to do at recess. Personally, I loved wandering around aimlessly and waiting for people to reject me.
It's also a great way for people who play board games to make new friends.
Heck, to make friends at all.
In all reality, this is a really great game. It's totally different from other games that I have played, that we have played together. It's a completely, in my opinion, fresh theme compared to the other themes that I've seen out there.
Grr, it's fresh to death.
Fresh to death. And as always, Leader Games does an excellent job of integrating the theme with the gameplay mechanics.
Absolutely. Not only that, but you can't go wrong when your theme includes collecting pizza and toys and calling out for mom when everything gets too hard. We believe Fort should be the last game standing, and it is the best game. There's no better game, so don't even think about voting for anybody else. I'm Megan.
And I'm Tristan.
And we're the co-hosts of the Girl Meets Nerd podcast.
Vote for Fort.
A vote for Fort is a vote for pizza.
A vote for Fort is a vote for life.
A vote for Fort is a vote for...
New friends.
New friends. A vote for Fort is a vote for board games.
Hey there, welcome. It is question number 5, segment number 5. I am Norm from Cardboard Conjecture.
I'm Ryan from Cardboard Conjecture. We're going to get down to it. Get down to brass tacks right now. We've got the best game. We've picked the best game of 2020 here, I think, Norm.
Merv, Heart of the Silk Road. And so, Ryan, why should someone buy this game over all of the other ones that are in this competition?
You got to ask yourself some of these questions. Do you like simple gameplay mechanisms that carry a lot of decision making behind them?
Yes, I do.
Those are the things you're going to get out of Merv. Do you like cashing in resources for big amounts of points?
Yes, I do.
So Merv checks off that box. Do you love beautiful Ian O'Toole artwork?
Oh, I love Ian O'Toole artwork.
We're only scratching the surface right now of why Merv, the heart of the Silk Road, is the best game of 2020. They've packed a lot of punch into into this Euro.
We've talked about the action matrix city tile configuration. I think that is the heartbeat of this game. And if you're a person that likes to challenge your ability to solve puzzles or ability to see the path through the clutter, this is the game.
Be able to see a couple moves ahead of time and be able to predict other players' behaviors so that you can maximize your efficiency and minimize their gain.
Yeah.
This game has got that in spades. Like other people have chose like Castles of Tuscany. What a weak choice, because you are so limited into what you can do in that game.
I really hope someone had picked that game, because then we look foolish right now. All the other games are great, but this one, I think this one has the more interesting choices, the more interesting challenges, the ability to discover different ways to synergistically connect different scoring patterns.
Yes, the multiple ways that you can combine the mosque track with, say, the set collecting of the caravansary, or the building of the walls matching up with the collecting of the marketplace and fulfilling contracts. So many different ways, and that you can also program the way that you score the points at the end of the game as well.
It's one of those games where you can't do everything because you have 12 actions in the whole game. So
do you like games where you feel like you just wanted one more action?
Yeah. I just want one more turn. Yeah, that's the deliciousness of this game is trying to see all of that before everybody else does. Yeah, that's why this game should be, the top of the pile.
And plus, what other game out there allows you to go Merv? Merv's the word.
I hope
none of them.
I hope we don't get caught on a licensing charge on that one. But yeah, it's not just because it's an awesome Euro. It's not just because it is a beautiful piece of art. And it's not just because it challenges you on an intellectual level. You should play and buy this game because it is everything that you need of a game. How was that for a good sell?
That was deep. I've got fireworks. The guys at Friday Night Games can't see this, but I actually timed some fireworks to go off at this moment time, so that if you can.
Well, in this case, it's just confetti bangers, but hey, we'll count it. We'll totally take it. So
that was us prematurely, celebrating our victory. Yeah.
Yay. So if we've made it this far, then yay for Merv, Heart of the Silk Road. I'm always Norm of Cardboard Conjecture.
And I've been Ryan. Bye, Merv. Merv's the word.
What is up? My name is Matthew McCack, and I'm here with my brother, Justin Makecat.
Hey, everybody.
We are Room 51, where we talk all things board gaming, and we are here for the 5th final episode showdown for Friday Night Games as to why you should buy Rallyman GT over any of those other crap games. Number 1, because we said so. Number 2, Justin, what do you think? Why should people buy this game over the other ones?
I mean, looking at these other ones, they're all very let's be real. Really,
trash.
Merv, I never even played that game. Actually, so Fort is also on this list. I'm totally not going to trap on Fort. Definitely buy Fort also. Fort's a cool game. But why you should buy Rallyman GT? I just think that Rallyman GT offers a very unique racing board game experience. And it's if you're in any way into racing board games, but you don't really care about the nitty gritty of like racing or anything like that. It's just so perfect. Then it's a very approachable game, as we've said before. It's one that anybody can get in on and get excited, feel the hype while playing it. It's the most adrenaline pumping game on this whole list of everybody else that's chosen games and everything. This is easily the most adrenaline pumping game.
Absolutely. I feel like this is one of those games where you could have like that stand-up board game moment where everybody's like standing around the table because you don't know, you're rolling those dice and you're trying to figure out like who's going to win. It's like anybody. And then all of a sudden you get the, whoa, like this could create a moment of like endings to the game, like best endings to a game, exciting endings to a game. This one, like if you want the thrill, if you're an adrenaline junkie, you're going to have to get Rallyman GT.
Absolutely.
I also think it's good for people, like you said, like if you're not even really into racing, you could still enjoy this game because I'm not into racing. I'm not into that. And we played with a couple of other people who aren't into racing, but this game was just straight up fun without like getting in the way. It's a little more complicated than, like maybe something like Downforce. Right. Downforce also doesn't really have that like the thrill of it, I feel.
Yeah, I agree. Downforce has a very different form of racing, which I enjoy and whatnot. But Downforce puts the spin on racing through the betting mechanism.
Yeah.
Rallyman GT puts a spin by adding a mechanism with the dice and everything purely to the racing. It didn't add something outside of racing.
Right. So if you like dice chuckers with dice mitigation and dice allocation puzzles to explore in terms of like how to get through those curves and everything, I mean, this is the game. And we are the champions.
Thank you.
It had to be part of this. Anyway, thank you so much for watching on that note.
Well, listening, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Don't watch, just listen. This has been Friday Night Games, but with Room 51 crashing the party. Have a freaking good one.
Wow.
That was
overwhelming.
I mean, I used to listen to ICP when I was a kid, man, but that was way more swearing
what
than
were we thinking?
I've ever heard.
What? You know what I think it is? You know what? It was after 8 hours of creating content, we were just done.
Everyone's angry at me. They're like, you. I'm gonna trash you. Trash every game. That's awesome. Well, I'm glad. You know what? I think that just shows how the swearing shows how much everyone cares about their game. I think how down to business everyone is.
Angry passion.
Oh, okay. So if you've been listening this far, you probably know how it works, but I have 3 votes. One from Room 51, one from Bridge City Board Gamers. I'm sure you guys could guess who they voted for. And one from Dice and Dragons. And then we have 3 more votes, one from John, one from Megan, and one from Tristan. That will decide the last game standing of 2020.
Nice. As always, guests go first.
Guests go first.
I'm ready.
Just as a note, the tiebreaker will be broken by social media, not by me, because I always screw up. So.
Well, we'll have you know that we have not talked about this in advance, so this will be new information for each other.
Ooh,
that's true.
I like that.
Perfect.
Okay, so who wants to go first?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Am I voting somebody off? Am I giving my on vote or my off vote?
You can give your who you're voting off and why. There we go.
Okay. I'm going to vote off Merv.
Oh, why?
I can't remember what the rest of the Merv the
Heart of the Silk
Heart of the Silk Road. Surprisingly.
That's crazy. That theme is right up your alley.
I know. I am surprised with myself right now. After listening to the episodes, hearing about the games, and I have never played any of these games. So all of the information that I have is from this competition and the arguments that were made by everybody who elected their games.
So truly we're the most fair.
Plus, I Googled what the games look like. Just so that I could try and understand what everybody was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I was very on board with Merv The Heart of the Silk Road when I first started listening to it, and I was very against Rallyman GT.
Oh, really?
Because I think what I was talking about earlier, like I'm so into the theme at the very beginning, and I am not a big fan of racing. Not that I'm like negative to it. I haven't watched racing ever, and it just didn't click with me. But the more, is it Room 51?
Yes.
The more that they talked about it and explained it, why they liked it, the different pieces, the different strategy that went into it, and just the excitement around it. I don't know. When it came down to choosing between these two, I think Rallyman GT, if I was going to go into a board game store and be like, I need to pick a game from this list, Rallyman GT would probably be it.
Wow. Nice. I agree. Cool. What about you, Megan?
Funny enough, I have to say I am also going to vote Merv off.
Whoa.
Yeah, I also really was on board with the idea at the beginning. I thought that it was really well explained, again, for somebody who didn't really have any knowledge of the game.
Mm-hmm.
It really sounded like a good time, but where I started to get lost was all of the mechanics in Merv, and once we started hearing about rulebooks within rulebooks, I was totally out.
But you guys love Root though.
Yeah, Root,
I do,
Root's like a rule book within a rule book.
Okay, but I have Tristan who read it for me. Like, I'm not kidding. I love to read, but I can't do rules. I just hate the large rule books. Let's put it that way. And the other thing is, once I started hearing about Rallyman, I am very much competitive game person. You know, there's some people who are part of this competition who didn't like competitive games, and that's, you know, their prerogative. But for me, I love competitive games. I love what was explained by Room 51. I think it was Melissa who said it, standing around the table, waiting for that final roll. I love those moments in games, and that's what really got it for me. If you can get a game where everybody at the table is standing, waiting to see what will happen, you've sold me. Absolutely. And the art is gorgeous.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's definitely a good choice. I'll say my piece in a second after John says his.
Can I make an honorable mention?
Absolutely.
I want to make an honorable mention to Merv, The Heart of the Silk Road, and its commentators for juicy Euro goodness.
I think it was tasty, delicious. I think they used all those words.
Their phrases like those, I love them.
Oh yeah, Norman Ryan are hilarious. Another good Canadian content creator duo. If you like their stuff, they release podcasts every Wednesday and Saturday called Cardboard Conjecture. We're actually on their Wednesday. They do like a lot of content creators talk about the games they play, so they're a lot of fun.
Yeah. Okay, so it's down to me now, eh? This one's tough because I didn't get a good enough playing experience for both games. So with Merv, we were playing that on Tabletop Simulator, and I had to get called away because my kid woke up and wanted no one else but me. So I had to leave the game. So I never finished it. And then with Rallyman GT, you and I only played one game, and like that was like the base level of the game. So after listening to everyone's description of the games, I feel like Bridge City Board Gamers and Room 51 really hit it home with their love for their game that they chose, especially the part that we just listened to. Man, it's hard for me, but I think what I'm going to go with, I'm going to say that I want a game that's going to be accessible for everybody. And when I think about board gaming, sometimes Euro games aren't the pick of the litter for a lot of people, especially if you have a group of people who don't normally play board games as often. So I think I'm going to have to go with the Rallyman GT as my pick to stay on.
So you're voting
off Merv. Yes, that's my final answer.
So Merv is who you're voting off.
Merv is who I'm voting off, yes. I'm going to choose Rallyman GT to stay.
Okay, so before I reveal the winner, I will give my comments on both games. Yeah, I think everyone has very valid points. Rallyman GT, I do feel like everyone can play it. It's very straightforward. Merv is a very underrated game of 2020. It's actually a really amazing, thick and juicy Euro. It has rules. Yes, you can eat it. It's just it is a really good game, but it's definitely a game that like not everyone's gonna enjoy it. Rallyman GT, I feel like everyone it is intense, and when you play it, like the downshifting mechanism, the sliding into turn mechanisms are amazing, and I feel like it's simple enough. Like reading the rule book, I read the rule book. It was slightly more complicated than it actually was to go watch a playthrough video. And in fact, I recommended it to a friend, and they said they tried reading the rule book. I'm like, no, just watch a playthrough video. you watch one round, you get it right away. So what everyone's saying makes sense. I think Merv is probably going to get voted off. So I'm going to reveal the results, and I think it might be pretty close. We'll see. So right now we have Meg, Tristan, and John all vote off Merv.
Yes.
Room 51. Obviously, they vote off Merv. Dice and Dragons also vote off Merv. Although they wanted me to bring up, Room 51 did not play Rallyman GT in person, which we could discuss in a bit. And finally, Bridge City Board Gamers obviously are not going to vote for their own game, so they voted Rallyman GT. So the hipster board game, last game standing of 2020 is Rallyman GT.
Good work, Room 51.
Nominated by Room 51. So congratulations. Actually, you know what? Wait. There's a write-in. Castles of Tuscany is the winner. Woo! We won.
Everyone just like throws their phone whenever they're listening to.
Yeah, that'd be hilarious. Anyway, so Rallyman GT definitely deserved to win. Did you think that Room 51 should have played it in person? Do you think that matters?
I just think it's funny because I think I found out that they played it on Tabletop Simulator or whatever, like on the 3rd episode.
Oh, yeah.
Or something, I think, or 3rd or 4th episode. And I was like, wait, what? You guys actually have not physically played the game? I mean, if the Tabletop Simulator version is just as, has everything that you would do in the normal game, sure. It's fine.
Yeah. I think it doesn't matter. I think it only matters for time.
Right.
To be honest, like just being in front of people and rolling dice and it goes a lot quicker. So I think it doesn't really matter, to be honest.
No, I just like it was kind of something that just threw me off because like I know we tried to play as many games as we could. Obviously, we couldn't get together, so we had to play on Tabletop Simulator. Right. They're siblings, so they can play the game in person.
Right.
Maybe as their prize, we should buy them the game. Send it to them.
I love that.
Is there anything more 2020 than having to play the game remotely?
True. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Like any other year, I may have said, I kind of should have played it in person, but this year I'm like, well, you were being safe.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing too is like it's a dice chucker, right? So like that feel of not actually like rolling those dice in your hand, to like shift those gears or whatever.
Yeah, there's a suspense to it because you can roll all at the same time or one at a time, and there's definitely a suspense of like, do I keep going? Do I push my luck or do I stop?
Right.
So on another note, should there have been another game that might have gotten voted off that you think should have won, Megan and Tristan?
Well, obviously Fort definitely should have won. I'm not saying that our Fort was the best in the playground, but like obviously it was. There was some contention on whether you could put pizza in a backpack, which I think really did us in, and we would like to debate that topic because we believe that you can in fact put pizza in a backpack.
Maybe the market is for frozen pizzas in a backpack.
Yeah, or maybe you saran wrap it and put it in the backpack or something. So I think that's how I put mine in.
Specific pizza backpacks, like
it got voted off because of like inclusivity, right? Isn't that what it was?
I think it was definitely a tie between the pizza in the backpack and the exclusivity. But I would also like to touch on that.
Yeah.
I think one of the things about Fort that makes it such a cool game is the competitive nature of it. I disagree that it's an exclusive game. I think that part of the argument there was that it was a game about kids being exclusive, but it really isn't a game for kids, which is kind of part of the point that I'm not sure holds up as well. It's a game for adults, and it's kind of making fun of the stereotypes of the recess playground. And what I really liked about it was it did have those. I really thought of Disney's Recess while I was playing it. And for me, like, it was nostalgic to think about all of the mean kids on the playground. Now, I understand that there's exclusivity issues in, playgrounds across the nations, but I don't really think that was the goal of the game. And I didn't find that it was exclusive. I mean, what do you think? You're looking at me.
I agree with you. I think we have beef.
Yeah, I think we have beef.
I think we have beef.
Yeah.
Because it is a competitive game. And by the nature of a competitive game,
you must compete.
You must compete.
Yeah, I in my honest opinion, I think the top 2 games in the whole list was Fort and Rallyman GT. I think it was a big toss-up
Yes.
between those two.
I agree.
Had it been in this final round, so you got to remember that the whole scenario is from Canada Reads, and it's like you're not the worst, right? That's kind of like the whole thing. So Rallyman GT was just like it wasn't the greatest game, it just wasn't the worst game,
Love it.
right? So like Fort obviously is a great game in its own right, and I love it. We actually played it on Friday too.
Right.
Prior to this recording, but like it is like it's just sort of like, yeah, I guess it had like the one flaw, and I don't know, maybe if it was a different time period maybe it would have lasted, but then again it would have to go up against Rallyman GT, and that would be a close call too,
Totally.
right?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I think all the games were really close. I think our game Castles of Tuscany was not a close call.
Yeah, I think we should have went with our Gods Love Dinosaurs.
I think even then it still would have got voted off pretty quick. I think I think Fort, Rallyman GT, or 2 were gonna be one of them was gonna make it to this finals. That's what I had in my mind when
Yeah.
that list came to me. I like saw that right away.
Oh, you put that out in the ether, so that's how this all played.
Clairvoyance.
No, I have no
And
clairvoyance.
that's why John had to come in with the pizza in the backpack thing. Come on, John.
John reads like one thing,
You
and it just
ruined
like it
us.
just always
No,
like comes up.
I can't because it was something so stupid. Like that's what, and I just cannot stop thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, I would not put pizza in my backpack. No.
Yeah,
Should know with your toys.
Like I know the way you think, John, and I'm like, oh, you just got caught up in it. Like it's not that you really like think that completely.
No, it was just funny. I was just like, I saw it was like one negative review of the game that was his big point.
That's
I was
hilarious.
like, oh man, I can't stop thinking.
I'll
about
go down on that. You know? But Tristan and I will be championing Kyle Farron games until the end of time, apparently. So
So next one next year when you're on again, it will be Dungeon Mayhem, right?
there you go. I didn't even know that was a hipster option.
I didn't even think about it.
It definitely. I know it could be bigger than hipster, but I don't know. It's all good.
I just wanted to say a huge thank you to everyone who participated in creating their breakdowns of the games each week, for everyone coming on the show and talking to us. We really appreciate everyone taking the time to do it. I know time is very, very valuable and precious to everybody, so we appreciate it so much. This was a lot of fun. Matt, thank you for coming up with the idea and writing all the stuff out. And yeah, I look forward to maybe doing it again sometime.
Yeah, spoiler alert, we want to do it again.
Right.
So yeah, so look forward to that. And thank you to all our listeners
Right.
for listening to it. So I guess that means Rallyman GT, championed by Room 51, is our winner. Woo! Congrats.
Yay! An honorable foe to go down. Too.
If you don't want to hear us talking because you're sick of us, that's great. You could drop off right now and make sure you check out next week's podcast where we're going to have our 100th episode. It's 2 years, and we're going to have 2 listeners on our show, which will be really cool to talk about the results and everything. Or you can stick around right now and we're going to talk to Girl Meets Nerd, and they are going to flip the table on us and ask us anything that we don't even know yet. So that's going to be cool.
I don't like surprises.
All right. So what do you want to talk about?
Okay. So we always talk about, we always listen to your podcast and it's all these great recommendations and really great suggestions
Great
and
moments.
fun stories, good moments.
Mm-hmm.
We want to know about the bad ones.
Oh.
We were.
We
like
want
that.
to know.
We have an example.
Yeah.
A couple
Wait, is
examples.
this-
We will come to the plate first. But
Okay, go ahead.
We want to talk about bad board gaming experiences.
Talk about your worst moments where you brought out a game that just failed on the table.
Like infamous
Oh, like
moments
all
in
the
your
time.
group.
I want a table flipping moment. I want friends who left in the middle of the game. I want a game that you can never look at anymore.
This is getting dark. Like, is this?
Friends
Okay,
you don't
I-
have anymore.
I have 2 that come to mind.
I have a bunch.
Okay,
I have a bunch of.
amazing.
I have a bunch of everything. I have like a game. I have like a moment. I have everything. But go for it.
We knew you would.
Okay, so if I'm talking about a bad board game experience, this is going to go back a few years. I think I've talked about it before, but this is when I decided to move out of my house to live with some friends of mine in my early 20s, and we were partying a lot. And one of the nights we decided to play Risk, and we were playing Risk, and everything was going fine. But for whatever reason, one of the guys lost the game really fast, and he got super mad. And I don't think he was drinking, because this is where this is going to go. I don't think he was drinking, but he was just like super mad. He took the table, literally like flipped the table, and then he stormed out of the house and he left. He drove his car.
Whoa.
And he left, and he came back maybe like I don't know, 5 or 6 hours later with his car totaled. He
What?
was so mad he got in a car accident, like hit a wall. Like we have like a
Or like a railing, or it's like a.
we have like a highway or something, and he hit one of like the side rails, and he was like by himself, and then like decided to drive his like totaled car back to our house.
Oh,
all over
my
because he lost
gosh.
risk.
Shame.
Yeah, I don't think he was drinking, but he was like oh man, I could see like the veins popping out of his entire body. He was so
Oh my
mad.
god.
Yeah.
How hilarious was it for you guys though? Like when he like leaves, you're like he's gonna get in a car accident.
Yeah, like I'm like, why are you? Yeah, it was terrible.
That poor man.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So
That was beyond my expectations.
Me too.
yeah, that was weird. And then the second experience, I think bad experience, I think Matt can agree with this one, was but once a month we would get together with our friends and play Pathfinder. And we have some friends that live in the United States, so we would usually go and play Pathfinder over there. That way we can like visit them and stuff, so they don't have to keep driving over to Windsor every week. This particular week we decided to play Firefly, the board game, except we played it with like all the expansions. And I
Wow.
think it took a couple hours to set up, and then there was like I think like 9 of us playing or something
yeah, it
like
was
that.
a very large game.
And I think each of us got to take like one turn,
This is after like 5 hours.
and
too.
this was like 5-6 hours in. And like we all only got to take like one turn, and then we were all just like done. Like everyone was off doing other things. Like people were playing VR. Like someone had like their Oculus Rift set up, so they were like playing VR. Someone was like, I fell asleep on the couch.
So it was in the hot tub. I'm
yeah,
pretty sure.
like no one was like into this game, and it was such like a disappointment all around. Like, that was just like it was like a letdown of a night because we were all looking forward to playing.
It
this
sucks
game.
too because Firefly is a very popular game. People love it.
Yeah.
Highly regarded. In fact, if you look at 401 Games, they're out of it. They're reordering it.
Yeah.
But yeah, our experience was pretty bad.
I think it's soured my taste to like play the game again. Like I think I would like to try it
Yeah.
on a small scale to see if the game's actually good because it seems like it'd be a pretty decent game.
Yeah,
it
I
was
bet
just
you on a
like
small scale would be good.
all the expansions, 9 players was just too much.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go for like a couple smaller things. Nothing. I can't top the story about the guy losing risk and then getting in a car.
That's
Oh my
wild.
gosh. That was a strong
But
open.
luckily he was
Yeah.
okay. It was just his car was totaled.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think he's okay. If he got
No,
so
no.
upset that he drove his car into a
Physically,
railing.
he was physically okay.
Okay. I think like with us, there's a lot of like I feel like there's a lot of tension, not between me and John, but like there's a group of us who play games together, and it's been a lot tougher since lockdown to get them to come out and play. But like we started doing online game nights, and then like one of our group members kind of started hijacking it, and that person was like, "Oh, we're just gonna do these fun games," and then they're inviting like my relatives. So all of a sudden we're like, "Oh, okay, we got like Matt and like." We have like Mustache Matt, we have Bill, who are like inappropriate joke people, and they're like mixing with like my father-in-law. I'm just like, I don't think this is gonna go well. And then so like one night we actually had brew, but we couldn't get together because of pandemic. So the one person's like, oh, we should all play like they're all good, great games like code names or whatever, online code names. And I'm like, well, you guys could do that. Feel free, use the Discord server, do what you need to do. But me and John need to play brew. And then they're like, well, we should all play brew. And I'm like, okay. I didn't say anything, but in my mind, I'm like, no, we shouldn't all play brew. Like, I can tell you right away that half this group is like my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law,
And your stepsister.
my stepsister-in-law. Yeah, and then you were explaining the game to them, John.
Yeah.
And so like, and I had like Matt, Grabka, and someone else, I think. Kevin. Yeah. So my group was okay, but like I'm like, I guess my sister-in-law looked up the game. And she's like, oh no, what have I gotten myself into? And my brother-in-law's like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah, he's just down for everything. So while John was teaching the game to them, my sister-in-law's texting, like, they're like, oh, Sam, are you going to play? Like, my wife? And Samantha's like, no, hell no. Like, she saw the game. She saw all the components, like, hell no. in the middle of the game, her sister is texting her, and she's like, I don't know what's going on. What did I get myself into?
I'm not a great teacher of games either. So for me to take on a group of people who like A, don't really want to be there, B, to explain this brand new game to them, it was tough for me, but like, you know, I don't know, whatever. We played one round.
Yeah, it wasn't really for them.
Yeah.
It wasn't really for them. And I feel like a game like Brew, you know, it's similar to like Root in a sense where you got to like, you kind of have to warm into it. Like you need like a couple games. You need to be really want to do it. You know, my sister-in-law already came in with the attitude that she didn't want to do it. So she's not going to like it, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's a tough crowd.
Any other stories you want to hear? You want to hear about us fighting during D&D? That happens a lot.
Definitely.
I actually, like, we used to play Pathfinder all the time, and it got so bad that I stopped going. So, yeah.
I actually had something similar happen, so.
Really? Okay, so basically, I used to be Dungeon Master, and I didn't really know what I was doing. Like, I was kind of learning on the fly for a while, but I did it for, like, 2 years, and then I was getting better at it as I was going on. But then later on, I'm like, you know, we started doing the podcast. I'm like, I don't have time for this. So someone else started taking it over, which was great. And they were doing a fantastic job. Don't get me wrong. But there's always a tension. Like the guy who was doing it, me and him are best friends. And we're always competitive against each other. And I think I do it to him, and he also does it to me, where I'm like, I want to do this thing. And he's like, no, you can't do that. Or like, and I think I did it to him, so he just kind of had like that comeback moment where he's like, oh, I'm not going to do that to you. But it just soured my whole experience. I think I had like an ability, and I'm like, I want to do this. And then he's like, no, you can't do that. But then he had a new person on the table, and the new person's like, I want to combine these two things to do this thing. And he's like, yeah, you can do that. And then in my mind, I'm like, so you're not letting me do the thing I want to do, but you're letting that guy do what he wants to do? Like, it just felt like a personal attack. And then from that moment, I was so upset that I was just like, I actually drove home, like, not
You totaled your car?
How's your car?
Yeah, yeah, I drove home. I smashed my car against that same railing. No, I wasn't angry. I think I was more distraught. I think I was just more like, I don't know, disappointed. And like, I kind of had that feeling where you're like, why do I even come out here? Like, if people are just going to like do that to me. You know,
Yeah,
so
for
I
sure.
just like, and then after that, I just made the decision that like, it was also coming down to a bad point too, where like every week there'd be a new person, and they'd always be like, Matt, go teach the new person. And I'm like, and in my mind, I'm like, you invited this guy and you didn't get him prepped at all. Like, you should be teaching him. Like, that's what it was coming down to. So I just honestly had enough. And then for some reason, I had to organize everything. Like, I'm at someone else's house, and they're like, Matt, you need to organize the food. And I'm like, I'm helping get this guy leveled up so we could play. Like, I don't get what's going on here. You know what I mean? Like, you just treat me poorly for no reason. So I just had enough, and I'm like, I just vowed to never go back, and I never did. But I did, like, you know, I do love the gang who does it. So my contribution would actually be to go. We haven't done this because COVID's basically ruined everything. But I would just go visit them, and then when they play, I would take off. Yeah, because I don't want to be there. You know. It's like a weird ego thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
you
can
were my
happen.
ride, so I stopped going. Too.
Yeah, I had a free work help me pay for tunnel tokens at the time. So we had like a free pass, and we didn't have to pay to get in.
Right.
But that doesn't happen anymore. So what about you, Megan?
So it was kind of a similar situation, but being a new D&D player, like I was pretty used to the way Tristan and his friends play D&D, which is very open and inclusive, and they're like super awesome at including new players. And I wouldn't say any of them are very like, what's the word? Power gamey?
Oh, like controlling
Or like controlling.
Controlling.
So when we moved to a new city, we had this new board game group with a new DM, and she was amazing. Like, she had so many great ideas and was really awesome. But we didn't really know any of them. Like, they were just people that I think you found on Reddit.
Yes.
And they were really nice people, and we started playing D&D, and it was okay for the first little bit.
It was like we were becoming their friends.
Yeah.
And D&D players.
Which was good. And like the DM was great. I was playing me, Tristan, and 2 other people. But one of the guys very quickly started becoming extremely controlling and condescending, like both to myself and the DM. So I'm not sure if he like didn't like that we were women at the table. I'm not really sure. I'm gonna just assume the best and just think that he's just kind of a dick. But he like just started taking over a lot of situations to the point where I think the last game we played, he just fully killed one of the NPCs without, like, all of us wanted to talk to the NPC.
Oh, yeah.
And he just killed him. And we were like,
Cool.
Okay, cool. So this is your game now, you know, and that same feeling that you were describing, Matt, of like, why am I here? Like this
Yeah.
is supposed to be fun. And this isn't a game. This is just one guy trying to like power through the levels. Like D&D is not supposed to be played that way.
Yeah,
So-
you're a team, right?
Yeah.
You're a team. Yeah, oh man.
Exactly. So it was just a really sour experience for me, and that almost turned me off role playing for a while because I was so new to role playing games. I did not like that, and I didn't like feeling like I was just at the table to be like told what to do. And it's kind of the same with quarterbacking in board games when you have one person in a co-op who's like telling everybody how they should play a game.
Yeah,
Go on.
I hate the quarterbacking thing too, which happens a lot in those like co-op games for some reason. And I'm with you on it 100%. I feel like, you know, just let other people make decisions, and if it screws up, who cares? Or, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
You lose the game. Well, first of all, in D&D, you have a dungeon master, so the dungeon master is going to keep you going through the game, so you're never really going to lose. But you play a board game like Pandemic, it's like there's no reason to quarterback because you lose the game, you start a new one. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like you're gonna lose in Pandemic.
Yeah.
Like most times.
Exactly. Yeah, that sounds like a terrible experience. When I was at a convention, you know, it was really funny because I had that experience, and I had similarities between what you experienced, Megan. I went to a convention and I went to a D&D panel, and it was all about being a really good dungeon master. And the first thing that they said was, it's like, make sure you like, you know, set your ground rules. So things like that dude who just killed the NPC, or the way that like my buddy was like, you know, telling me I couldn't do things, but allowed other people, you know, giving exceptions to the rule. Like, make sure those things don't happen, because that's just going to ruin everyone's experience. And I was just like, wow, I was blown away by it. And I actually came back from the convention. This is after I stopped going, and I like gave him all this huge list of things, and I don't think he cared. I'm like, these are things you should do. And he's just like, nah. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. I guess it's me then. Damn. But yeah, I'm sorry you had to go through that. That sucks.
Yeah, but you know, it's a good learning like experience, as you said, kind of figuring out what makes, and this was just to plug again one of our episodes,
Do it.
the Paying Metaway Games episode. We talked a lot about what makes an inclusive gaming table, and like how do you make people feel welcome when you're inviting someone new to the space, or even just friends you've had for a long time. And it's interesting that you said that you need to establish ground rules, because we've talked in a lot of podcasts with people about RPGs about the importance of like consent at the table and having everybody agree to the same rules of engagement, which makes just for everybody to be more comfortable and feel like they can have a great time, which I think is so awesome, and might even need to be something that starts to be talked about in certain board games, you know, like how long are we going to play this game even is like a really important rule to kind of set, because then people have expectations. So it's really interesting.
Oh yeah, no, that is completely true. I mean, that Pathfinder game that we were playing is still going on right now. It's like 4 years later.
Amazing.
Yeah. And I will give the DM a lot of credit. We had a player just like the one you're describing, Megan, where like he wanted to kill every NPC. So our DM actually set up alternate scenarios. He's like, if this guy kills the NPC to be a jerk, this is what's going to happen. So he actually like put John Wick in the game. So at one point he knew that the people were going to kill this dog. And then he's like, oh, they're like, and then you see a person burying the dog who looks just like a similar character to a movie. And they actually had to fight him in one of their last battles. It was actually really hilarious.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so he kind of like he's actually a really good DM. Obviously, when I experienced that stuff with him, he was learning, so maybe that was a problem. But yeah, he's actually really funny with that type of stuff. Like he does think outside the box, and it was a very good way to handle a situation that you experienced, right? Like, oh, you just killed that person? Guess what? They killed you. You know what I mean? Like. You do something like that.
Good job.
Yeah, or like he tries to kill the NPC, and guess what? The NPC is a god character that has the ultimate weapon for your character. You know, but yeah, things like that. It's all a learning experience, right?
For sure, yeah. Tristan, do you have any bad ones?
I have one. I've got a couple, but I have one really fun one to talk about. This was pretty early on when Megan and I were starting to get into board games. And this story is about Megan.
No, this is not with my rules of engagement.
For everyone listening, we did go over this. I made sure that this was okay to share before bringing this up.
Yeah, but I forgot you were going to share it.
So this was pretty early on. I was just getting into board games. Megan was just getting into board games. And we were actually with two friends who were also getting into board games. So we were all new, but I was the least new. So we actually didn't buy the game. It was Seven Wonders. And these two friends purchased the game with myself and Megan in mind. And they wanted to learn how to play it, and they wanted to play it with us because they were really getting into board games. They didn't have a lot of other friends, to my knowledge, who were board gamers. So they were like, let's do this with Tristan and Megan. Let's get this game and let's learn how to play it. So we go to, I think it was a cottage, and we were having like a weekend together, and it was finally time. We're like, all right, let's bust out Seven Wonders. We'll learn how to play. We'll play it before dinner. First mistake.
Oh, no.
So none of us had eaten dinner. We opened the game, and it's all in French. The people that we were with were francophones, so they had purchased a French copy, which is totally fine.
But there was no English.
But there was no English rules. It was all in French.
Do you speak French at all, Tristan?
A little bit.
A little, like I can get by in a conversation.
But the thing is, the francophones could read the rule book, but couldn't understand the rules. Tristan could understand the rules, but couldn't read the rule book.
So,
oh no.
We punched at all the punchies, which was really fun. And then had to like Frankenstein monster. They were reading the rules to me, and I was trying to interpret what the mechanics were trying to get at so that we could get the game set up and get into it. I had zero knowledge. For some reason, I don't know why, we weren't watching a playthrough video.
We did watch a playthrough video.
We did watch a playthrough video. That probably started to help.
We watched a playthrough video, but it was almost more confusing than the rules.
Because all of the things were different. Like
because the rules were in French, so we couldn't line up what they were talking about in English.
the textiles and the like bricks and everything. I was
something else.
And they were all in like fantasy terms, so I was trying to show it to our friends, being like, what would be a word for like this? And we were trying to figure out what all the words were. So at first it was the four of us. Then we lost Megan. You were kind of leading the cooking expedition.
I was trying to just get dinner on the table.
And you just wanted to get dinner on the table because we're all getting hungry. Then we lost somebody else. So it's just myself and one other person, and we were trying to put the game together, and it just kept going on and on and on. It probably took us 3.5 hours.
3.5 hours.
To really get
For
the game
Seven
open,
Wonders.
get everything on the table, figure everything out, put it all together in our heads while we were like joking around and having a good time.
I was not having a
And
good
Megan
time.
was this was like the penultimate Megan doesn't like rules moment, and when it really crystallized for me, because you were just like, I don't want to play this game. I don't want to be here anymore. This is not going to be a fun game. This has been a terrible experience.
I wanted to drive the car off the way.
You were getting ready for that moment.
You're driving the
was so
car.
mad.
How did
We
the
were all-
railing hit? Did you hit the railing? Or?
Oh gosh. It ended with me burning half of our dinner. That's how it ended.
Oh,
The
really?
food was getting burnt.
Yes, and I don't burn things, Matt. I'm a good cook, but I was so mad that I just like left. I could not be in the kitchen listening to them do the rules.
Yeah.
I just couldn't.
Yeah, you couldn't even be around us when we were trying to figure it
I
out.
was so angry.
It was just off the rails. And we brought it back.
I was like, why are there 3 ages? What is up with this game? This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I was so mad and hungry, probably.
And we were all hungry.
Hangry. Lots of hanger. Oh my.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got through it. We learned the rules. Brought Megan back in. I think we stopped. And
We ate dinner.
yeah,
That was the difference.
we kind of did like a showcase of like, this is what the game is going to be. And then we ate dinner. We had some wine. We all kind of mellowed out, and then we got into the game, and then that kicked off. I think what was really like our first. We love this complicated board game.
Yeah.
And then it was Megan's favorite game for like 8 months.
Well, that's good. That has a happy ending, man.
It does.
It has a happy ending, but it was an intense time.
Seven Wonders is a very good game. So I know. I'm glad you learned it. But yeah, it is. You know, from like learning rules myself, I do know that there's a lot of games out there that the rule books are super complicated, but the game is actually really easy to play. And I feel like Seven Wonders. I mean, you guys the two of you kind of ran into like a little bit of an issue because you're learning French rules, so it's like completely different. But like, I feel like if it was in English, you would have watched that playthrough video and you probably would have understood it very quickly.
Right.
Well, once we'd played it once, we were like, oh,
This is easy.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I have the same thoughts about Wingspan too. Like, I recommend Wingspan to a lot of people, but I always tell people just watch a round of playthrough someone playing the game. Do not read that rule book because you will just hate yourself.
Yeah, luckily we played Wingspan with somebody to teach us because, no.
We all go through these moments, though.
Yep. You've got to have some bad board game moments. I think those are the juiciest ones.
They make great stories.
Yeah.
They really do. Yeah. We we try not to be too negative about our experiences because we want our friends to keep showing up.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes the D&D really kills me.
Yeah.
Or Risk. That's wild. I've never heard a story like that.
That's insane.
Sometimes you just need to breathe, you know?
Yeah. It's just a game, man. Just a game. Well, thanks for joining us. Can you please plug yourselves again so everyone can know where to find you and listen to you?
Yes, absolutely. So once again, if you'd like to listen to the Girl Meets Nerd podcast, we highly recommend that you do. You can find us on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Google Podcasts, pretty much anywhere. Or if you want to listen directly on our website, we're at www.girlmeetsnerd.com.
Check out our shop.
Check out our merch shop. Yes, very cool stuff. We also are always active on Instagram at Girl Meets Nerd Podcast and on Twitter at Girl Meets Nerd. So you can find us there and feel free to reach out if you ever want to talk about anything pretty much in the Nerdverse.
Awesome.
If you like what you hear, don't forget to follow us on your favorite streaming platform and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. You can check us out on Instagram at FridayNightGames_official, Twitter at FridayNightGMS, and on our website at FridayNight.Games. Again, I'm John.
I'm Matt.
And it's Friday night, so let's have some fun.
Thanks, everyone.